Welcome guys, today I'm gonna show you how to create a Minecraft server and how to create a MySQL database in case you're running a Spigot or Paper or Bucket server that requires it. Now to create a Minecraft, just a normal Minecraft survival, you'll first need a bunch of things. First, a folder. Call it whatever you want. I'm gonna call it server because that's just easy to remember for me. This one, just put it somewhere where you know it. Next, you want to go in here. Now, next you want to either do create a text file or just click start.bat, and then in here you're gonna do echo of. This basically means that anything you type in here will not be repeated in the command prompt. What I mean by that is, let's say in here you have start. Well, then on the command prompt is also gonna say start, but you cannot mess with it at all. Well, just show it. So echo off, and then you could, for example, just do echo starting survival server. Simple as that. And then next you will need Java as well. Java, then you're gonna do /jar -xmx and then -xms. Now these two are sort of the storage. The minimum, as far as I know, is 512 megabyte for each one is like the minimum, and this should be fairly enough if you're running a small server like one of your friends. If you do want, you can upgrade it to, like, for mine I'm gonna use 2 gigabytes. You don't have to, that's up to you. 2 gigabytes. Next, Java, and then here is the name of the file we're gonna use. Now next, after that, you could do no GUI or GUI. Right now I'm not going to do a single GUI, and later I'll show you what the difference is with no GUI and GUI. Then you're going to do pause. Whatever you do for this is not too important as long as it's above 512 or 512 megabytes. Pause basically means if there's an error or the server crashes, the command prompt won't just like start up and start down. It will actually be frozen until you press enter. This is good to see, okay, my Minecraft server crashed, okay, let me see the errors. And this line here basically is just gonna activate. Now the name, the reason I haven't set the name yet is because we still need it. Now next you could either do save as in here and then do all files start.bat next, and then just click save. You can see in here, but there is another way. This in here is important. Let's say, for example, you've written this, then you could just go out here, rename it, and then change the extension from .txt to .bat. This, though, the reason I did the other thing is you will get this renamed that it might become unusable, which, as far as I've heard, I haven't heard anyone had this problem yet where it's become unusable, but this can happen, which is why it gives the warning. I'm still gonna say yes, and since I have 2, this one's gonna be renamed. What you can as well do for faster is just new file, text file, do Control A to highlight the entire thing, start.bat. Yes. Okay, and then just click edit and then copy in this line down here. Now if I click this now, it'll just come like this. Okay, I need to change something as well, I think. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry about this. This is a small mistake I just made. It's -java jar, I think. Let's make sure. Oh, yeah, it was actually Java. I can check because I do have one here. Yeah, Java. This is basically, oh, it's jar, not dash. Sorry about that. Right, it's Java jar, no, actually it's Java this, and then do Control S or just do file save. And now you can technically, now if you try and run it now, it could be something like your program will exit yada yada yada. That's fine because we're not done yet. Next you're gonna go on internet. Now I'm using Google Chrome because I prefer using that. You can use whatever you want. There's actually, as far as you can access these sites with your browser, there's, oops, wrong thing, there's not going to be a problem. First thing we're going to download is the Minecraft server. Just type in that. You'll be presented with a bunch of things. Now, if you're going for the latest Minecraft server file, the one, for example, let's say right now the latest one is 1.5.2, then just click this one, the Minecraft.net, which will, if I click on it, take me here, and I just click download Minecraft installer. Oops, that was the wrong thing. No wait, yeah, that wasn't the right thing. So download, yeah, right below it should say Windows Server Software, Windows, or, and then you can see here. Sometimes you might not be able to find it on the Minecraft server, like right now I can't find it that well. Oh wait, it's here. I'm gonna leave some of these links down below, so don't worry. This is basically the file you want to find on Mojang, Minecraft.net. Download the latest Minecraft and see the EV and explain what I just did. This is normally the best where your server will run most optimal if you're not running a lot. Like, this is basically like around 1 gigabyte. Please note, the more people you're gonna have on it, the more storage you're gonna need. So you just click this one, download, keep, server jar. If for some reason you cannot, there is this one mcversions.net. They have the alpha versions, beta, snapshot, and stable, where you just find the one you want and click download, server, or even client, depending on some stuff. Now I have 1.15, which is the one I'm gonna use. So I am gonna minimize this and drag this over here. Now this, you can, it doesn't need to be server.jar. Well, the jar doesn't, .jar does, but you can name it whatever you want. So I'm just gonna, for my sake, 0.15.2. And then in here, edit, and then as you know, the name. Now this was 1.15.2.jar. You could as well just leave it server. So I'm gonna minimize this now, and now what you need to do is just run it. See, it will come up with this error. Failed to load error, you need to agree to the LUR. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Press any key to continue. Do not worry, this is meant to happen. New files will come up. The logs, which is just error, which is basically what just happened in the console. Failed to, and this is not going to be a problem. The main reason is because you in here the error, this is automatically with most default servers is set to false. You just have to change this and set it to true. You're basically agreeing to the terms of uses, which you can read at this site here if you want to be sure. Then just click save, close down, and now I'm going to run it again. Now as you saw, I had taken out no GUI. If the server starts up, yes. This right here, this is the GUI. If you click no GUI, you will only be presented with this command prompt up here, which will slowly begin loading. Now, the main reason many people do not use this so much is this normally takes up more RAM of your computer. Not lag your computer, but still take more space than this, for example, does. Like, even with powerful beefy computers, if you want the most optimal thing for your computer, then put no GUI, especially if you have a potato computer, because this takes more storage, more RAM, And I don't just mean the RAM you specified in there, it takes as well the RAM to run it, which is a bit. This does, however, look nicer than the command prompt, I would say. And it does look nicer. But also, if you have the UI, just note if you close down this one, the command prompt will as well close down. Well, at least the server will crash. Now, if I go in here and click Edit, as you can see here, if I do no GUI, oops, let me just edit that again, no GUI, as you can see here, which is why Mojang as well shows that, and I close down this and I run it, as you can see right now, as well up here, starting survival server. Okay, so this is the survival server. As you can see, the other GUI does not pop up, you only have this. You have this command prompt here. Simple, correct? Yes. Now, probably mine is fast. People with potato PCs or slower PCs can take longer. Like, your server does have to run off your computer, so I do not recommend if you have a potato computer, but if you must, then it can take some time. Like, some people even run a Minecraft server off a Raspberry Pi, which is a mini computer. So it is still possible to run off potatoes, but I do not recommend that. Then, see, done. This basically means if I go on here and just click add server local host, as you can see here, for some reason it's showing some image there, but as you can see, out of 20. Now I can connect to it. If I look on here while I'm connecting, yes, this failed. Oh, well, I just got failed to verify. That is not an issue you should get. That's just because I have to quickly log in again. That isn't technically my fault. That is more because I recently changed my username. You would normally get fail, as you can see here, failed to verify username. This is because I changed it. Try to join with an invalid session. Now this one, the 1.7.0.0.1 is normally your, not an IP, but that is normally like your location. If for some reason, let's say you are somewhere, this is normally the place. This just means if you see this anywhere 1.7.0.0.1 or 0.0, that normally just means local. Your normal IP, for example, of the computer will not be this. This is just to tell you the local host is joining. This may be different if multiple people in your homes are connecting. Now we've set it up as a local host. Next, we're gonna close down this. You could close it down or you could type /stop. Both work. The only difference is when you do /stop, it does save the world. You could always do /save-all. So now server.properties, I'll quickly run over this because it's not right now too. Spawn protection, I recommend setting it to 0. What spawn protection does is wherever you spawn, if it's for example 1, then the block you spawn on, no one, that I think all the way down to bedrock, no one can mine that one block. So the bigger the spawn area, the less people can mine. The only people who can mine in spawn areas, spawn protection areas, are people with opt. Most of these you should leave is up to you. Most of these does not matter too much. Enforced game mode basically mean whatever the default game mode is, they'll enforce that every time you come on. You can allow never or not, that's up to you. Survival. You can even specify all that stuff. The only thing we are interested in here is the server port. Technically, this could be whatever 5 numbers you want it to be. But the best one is this one. You just have to be able to port forward it. The server IP will be something else. Now you can spawn NPCs, true, allow flight. world level, distance, resource pack, recon password. Now, if any of you wondering what recon is some apps will let you, for example, monitor, or even website will let you monitor servers. Like if you put in the IP on your server, you can monitor recon. If you know the recon point, and you can even have a password, so only specific people. Now, normally, I recommend just putting a random password, even if you're not going to use it, just in case. And then we have the message of the day. Now, if you want to change this to something colorful like Hypixel does, then it's just a slash and a bunch of random numbers and letters. You can find it online anywhere. For example, if I just say message of the day, Minecraft color codes, and then delete that, see, you have a bunch of stuff here that says, which you just paste in. Now there's even specific, as you can see here, this is how it looks. As you can see here, this is normally in chat, what names are, and these are the ones you should be focusing to. Now these down here you should be careful with, because not everyone knows how to do them correctly. But this is basically the other one, so you can have it bold, italic, strike, or even reset. Now there is a space as well, but now if you cannot do that very well, what you can do is, on this website, I've used it before actually, is custom server message of the day. This one. You're presented with a bunch of ads, your message. Alright, now here if we do YOLO bro, let's just say we do that. Here I can highlight it. I want this to be red, and the bro, I want it to be green. Now I'm gonna highlight the O and press this one, which is sort of like the letters you see just changing constantly. In fact, I actually want this entire thing to be that. Next, I want the entire thing to be highlighted, bold, and italics. Now I can just well do the next one and then just do, can you read me? I'm gonna do, that's what the focus one. I recommend writing it first and then highlighting and doing that. Then you just do preview, and then you can see this is how it's gonna look in game. Then create it, and then you just copy this entire thing in here. Boosh. Bam. And now basically your server should look something of the lines of this. We can even check if I finalize and I go on there, we can see it. See if I go on multiplayer, and then I should say I save this. See, enable recon. If you have this one to false, don't worry about password. If you have this one enable, create a password and don't share it with many people. Now, as an editor, you can use whatever you want. I normally use Visual Studio Code. You can use Notepad, Notepad++, even just Atom and all that stuff. That's up to you what you want to use. Now, if we go in here again, run our servers, just starting up. I won't be able to connect because I haven't really logged in again. As you could see, we're gonna first let it start up, because this, it may say stuff. See, this is how Hypixel and all these have this. Alright, refresh. See this one. As you can see, it's exactly like this. Okay, the next small detail before we get into more complex stuff is image icons. As you can see, Hypixel has these, Mineplex has these, other services will have these. Now, to create one is, you find any picture you want, call it server-icon.png. Now I'm gonna edit with the editing software I have, which is called 3D Paint. You can use whatever you want. If you want to use this, just find it on Microsoft Store, it's free. This is just to show you something. In Canvas, the pixels width and height must be 64. If it's bigger or smaller, Minecraft will not load it. Now it is sometimes hard to read it, just to let you know when you just look. That's why you should not normally have text. You should have something people can clearly read. Now it does look a little bit different once you start it up, but see, I'm gonna start up. I have been told as well you don't need the dash, you can sometimes just do server dash icon. I am gonna as well have a text tutorial in the description, but it's not gonna be as detailed as this. As you can see, it's done. Fresh, as you can see there. And that's one of the reasons why many of these have logos and not so much names. A few have names, not a lot. As you can see, sometimes it is hard. Encrypting, I won't be able to log in because I have to re-log into the game, but that's for it. Next, you're gonna have to do the most complex stuff, which is where many fail. This is not because many people are stupid or anything like that, it's just hard to do for some people, and that is port forwarding your server. You will need, there's many ways to do this. One way is going into your router, which will normally be your IP, like something like this, I think. Not too sure, I'm believing it. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be that. Yeah, see, here it is. This is normally, these two numbers here I've highlighted are normally the default ones you'll be in. Now, depending what company you use, it'll be different. Mine comes immediately up with a username and a password. Default most would be normally admin, and then for the password. Sometimes it will say, if this is not it, like mine isn't, if this is not it, look on your internet box, your router. The main reason is sometimes the company that you've paid Wi-Fi from will have normally put already details there. Or if it's not your router, you may need to ask your parents, as due to the fact that adults can, sometimes you can go in and change your username and password, which I wouldn't recommend, but people will do this. And if they have, then you need to ask them what it is. If it's neither of those three options you can log in, then you should call your internet provider and ask what's going on. See, I can't join. Now, there are other options, but most personally I would say does not work. Now, once you're in there, you need to port forward, add the port 25565, and then just upload it. Now, I can't show you all details due to the fact that I cannot remember right now the logins. But another thing I suggest is each router will be different, and some routers will show you how to port forward. Like, my internet provider is called UC. Now, the good thing about the community is right now it's just gonna translate. See, they will sometimes talk about how to port forward. Even if I go, for example, into the default UC, I think it's this way. Let's just see operating information about UC. Product, find out more. Right now, just finding out where it is. Help. Go to help. Yeah, I think it's here. Yeah. Now, my internet is nice in the sense that they actually show you. See here, for example, make a port forward. The good thing about my company is you pick which one, and they even go step by step how to put forward in. See, as you can see here, this is the best image I have right now. Once you've logged in, which I can right now, mine is gonna look like this. Yours will not, probably not, because we all have different Wi-Fi routers. I have to click on advanced, as it says, forwarding. Most of yours should be forwarding or port forwarding. Once you're in there, add a new one, and then you need to, whatever it's called, your IP, which you should normally be able, if you want to find out what your local IP is, because they'll normally ask which router, you just do IP config. Now this is gonna mine has a lot, but you'll normally look for this one. Now I am gonna blur mine up, the numbers, because you shouldn't see this, but now you will as well, if it does not work, check your Wi-Fi that your IP is a static one. You need to make it a static. Now if most of this port forwarding is very complex and you can't find out in your router, you're just going crazy for some reason trying to find out how to do it in your router. I understand that. I do have an alternative way to do this, but it isn't cheap. I have this app called Port Forward Network Utilities. This one's quite good. You just log in, then you could do static IP address where you technically check your IP address. You guys will detect a router, port finder, even port checker, and you, for example, here port forward config. This is the nice thing about that, but it is expensive. Last I checked, it was around $49.99, which isn't cheap. And see, in here you can either custom application where you can specify what ports, or even they have default ones, and let me just be honest, they have a lot, not just for PC, Xbox, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, even Wii. They have a lot, even old ones you might not even remember or know what are. And then once you're done, update, and you can even check. For example, 255 check, port checker result. It's quite nice, but it does cost something. I will link this as well in the description. It isn't cheap to buy, but it's a one-time purchase. The only thing that doesn't come free, the only thing that isn't one-time is support days. As far as I saw, you got around 1 or 2 years of support days, meaning basically where you can get support for it. And they are not on 24/7, but they normally answer quite well and are good. Once you've port forward, you're basically done. You can start your server. Bam, you'd be done. You'd have port forwarded. Now, sometimes what you can do is you normally have to enter your local IP in here, like for example 0.0.0.0.1 at, for example, if that's your local IP. This does not work, enter your public IP, or else just leave it blank. Now what your friends will need to join your server is your public IP. To find out that's quite easy. Just say my public IP. Now if you're on Chrome or searching on Google, it should say something like your public IP address is this, which I'm not going to show you what is, but that's it. Now we're going to go on to more complex stuff of MySQL. Say for example you have a there's normally a bucket, a spigot, or a paper. Those are the only three I know of that uses plugins that's still getting updated today that would use plugins. Now depending who you are, you may choose bucket, spigot, or paper. The way I can best describe it is buckets, plugins, try not to mess too much. Let's just say the Minecraft code. Let's just imagine a box. That box is basically Minecraft. Inside it is bucket. They try and build the things inside the cube. Spigot actually tries to build inside and outside, sort of like that. Paper is basically a fork, or not a copy exactly, but sort of like taken from Spigot, but the way they would say it is made better. I cannot say how much, but personally I prefer paper. It's best for you. I would say even if you're just gonna run a normal survival world without plugins, paper is still good. Now depending what you want, you will type something like download spigot, download bucket, or paper. Now I am gonna download paper for this example. Now I'm gonna close down some of these because we've already been on these. This you normally got on paper here, papermc.io. I will have a link as well. Downloads. There is this one which will show you could go longer back, but I don't know if they serve anymore. They have paper, waterfall, and travertine. Waterfall and travertine are more bungee cord, not so much no Minecraft. and then you just click here. I'm gonna download paper. Now I'm gonna drag it in here. You can as well just copy. Now I do not need this anymore. You don't need to delete the rest of the files. That's up to you. It's not important. The rest of the files will normally get created. Just get in here and then change this name. Jar. Paper. Save that. Control S and then start it up. Now it is gonna add extra things like downloading vanilla lab, jar, system info, even give you info about your system. This is one of the things that you could see is different. Now, if it's the first time, it can take a little bit. If it just seems stuck and been like this for a long time, just press enter on your keyboard. That normally fixes that, as you could see there. Mine was just glitched. Now I'll normally see something like modifiers, setting up map, and time reset. That's all it. Now in here, new things will be created. Cache, plugins, and each world for each thing has been created, meaning there's one for nether and the end. You might not see this if you've disabled nether. You'll as well have something like commands, bucket, paper, help, all that stuff. Simple basic, correct? Yeah. I am gonna quickly, because it could be used so you can't see it, I am gonna log out and then log back in again. But you will not be able to see this because you're not meant to see it. Now I'm gonna start it up because that. But paper, that's it. Now once you're done with that, find a plugin you want. For my example, first of all I'm gonna delete this, is you could even search online players SQL. That was what I was looking for. Which I found this plugin. Online players, look up SQL support. It'll normally be MySQL, but just click download. Now if you download paper or spigot, you could normally paper plugins best found on papers, but you get plugins best found on spigot, bucket plugins best found on bucket. But if you're running a bucket server, it doesn't always work with spigot commands, but spigot and paper can normally work with all plugins made for bucket, spigot, and paper. I'm gonna keep that online checker. You're gonna drag this or copy it into your plugins folder. Now it's gonna be in here. You might have this one, B stats default. That's fine. As you can see here, it has a lot of stuff, few reviews, not a lot, but now I haven't tried this out, so I'm gonna test it with you guys. It's native version is 1. Just because you see 1.12, you might think, oh, then it's not gonna work. It's only been tested on there. No, this is not false. This is only what has been tested on. I've seen plugins that's only been tested on 1.8, but still working 1.15.2. Once that is up, stop or delete your server. I'm gonna stop it, and then you can stop it before you put in or after. That's up to you. Now start it back up again. Now the more files, this will change if you have extra plugins. Like plugins will mess a little bit with this, like add different looks, even tell you about stuff. Now mine kept getting freezing for some wrong. Now it does say this one disabled. Yeah, as you can see, it's disabled. Alright. Due to this, I'm gonna fence plugin. I know a different one. This one is for Bungee Core, but I'll still show you it here. Now normally it will say something when you're ever downloading a plugin. This type of file can harm your computer. Do you want to keep the file anyway? I'm gonna keep. As far as I've seen so far, Spigot and Paper does not have any viruses plugins. Like the plugins haven't done any damage as far as I know. I haven't downloaded every single plugin off there, but as far as I know, they work. Now, we'll normally create a folder. Now, even as you saw there, it created a folder and still kept this. Even if you see a folder, do never delete the jar file. Because sometimes I've seen some that do not create folders, others that actually depend on the jar, but only show the folder. Folder is more so you can configure it. if you think about that way. Let's just close that down. I don't care about saving it and starting back up. Now it should work. Proceed. Yeah, it's now it should still work as far as I know. I hope it does, but let's just see. Sometimes when you're running it, it can be slow. Other times it will not. Once you're in, as you can see, I cannot type anything. Game mode. But you do not have permission to perform this command. Please contact. See, this is normally the default thing. This is nothing to be worried about. This just means you're not opt. I'll just do opt LonlyGamerX. Okay, I'm server up now. Now if I do /game mode creative, I'm in creative. We have this beautiful world here. We do not need to. If I do /friends, I do not know if it will work, but let me actually see, did it disable it or something? For some reason it could not enable that for strange. Let me, yeah, I normally see something like that when you close down. I'm gonna go into plugins. I'm actually gonna go back because this did create a file. Even though it gave errors, it still created a file. I'm gonna try this again. I am sorry for a little bit, but the good thing about me trying it together here, as you can see, is if I step in an error, most likely you guys will step in an error as well. We'll say something like this, as you can see here. Let me go back up. Initializing legacy material. Unless you have a legacy plugin. Yeah, this will normally say with some sort. You should pay too much attention. It can sometimes specify if your server's gonna work or not, but not 100%. To run it back, I am opt. Be careful though if you are gonna have ops. Unless they're friends, be careful because opt people can do whatever they want. They even have permission to stop the server in-game by doing /stop. Even they can even de-opt, like the owner. The good thing is the owner, if you have access to this command prompt, you can always kick him, but they can kick and ban whoever they want as well. Now, this will be a new one. Plugins. It'll normally light green if it works, and then as well, you can even do paper. Paper version is running paper. This. Chicken version, please. You're running the latest version. Now, what you can do is, now since this one did not work, we just find another plugin that uses MySQL. In the MySQL comic bridge. Let's just do this. That uses Vault to synchronize. Okay, I also need Vault. The one thing I will tell you, if you are gonna have plugins on your folder, the best, not the best, but the thing you should immediately download if you are gonna have it is Vault. Vault on there is probably the biggest plugin, the biggest requirement of most plugins, the most common one you'll see out there. Vault is like most economics use Vault. Like Vault is just one of the biggest things that's used out there. So Vault is useful. I'm gonna download this, and it is for 1.15, so that's good. Because I also need an economic plugin. Let me just do that as well. Economies. This one actually uses, then there's no reason for this bridge actually. Now I'm just gonna do this and then just delete a few of these because right now they're not too important. Alright, that's done. Let's move this here. V economics. Alright, now what you can do in game if you don't want to restart it is do /reload. But reload you should always be careful with, because as even it goes here, can cause cause bugs, memory leaks. Some plugins, if you reload the server and not restart it, then they will not work. Some will save if this will happen. Others might not, but can still happen. I am still gonna do it because I have nothing on here. Now I can do /plugins, economic main. Okay, just creates an error. Now this error is most likely because it requires MySQL. I can always check here. Okay, so it does require MySQL. Alright, on to the next part, MySQL. The biggest thing most of you probably are wondering, like, how do I do it? Oops, that's not what I wanted. First, you want to download XAMPP. This one I recommend. What you can as well do is search for something which some of you may be more comfortable is XAMPP. This one is more common, but this one I've had best use for. Just search this, then click the first one. It probably will be in. It will probably say warp server and then something like La Plataforma there. Something it looks like in Spanish, but I'm not too sure. Sorry. You can click on the second one, but click on this one I recommend. Now it is gonna take you to this site, which is gonna be in English. At least mine is. I'm not using any Google Translate or anything like that. Start using web server. You could do it for 64-bit or 32. I will tell you, if you are on stuff like Mac or Linux, I'm sorry, but I do not know if this is available for you. As far as I've heard, then you need this one, the XMPP. This one is more for you than if you are gonna go on there. If you are gonna if you're using those two. This one, as far as I've seen, is click the version. You will need some stuff for this, which it will say a little bit about what you need, but that download directly will probably take you something like the source verge, downloading. There are plugins. You can, as far as I've seen, get plugins with this, but where those plugins are, which is why I'm looking around. I don't know what type of plugins you can get, but it shouldn't take too long depending how fast your internet is. Now this one is app cache, MySQL, and PHP, and even stuff like marriage and all that. Open it, choose to run it. What language? Okay, I accept. It will ask you for these elements down here. If you think you have them but you do not know, you can install, and it will sometimes give you an error. Say design. Okay, let's just select enter. Okay. See, next you're gonna come on this side. You wanna highlight, I recommend this one, the latest one. It might be even later from you depending when you're watching this. MySQL will normally not be ticked, but you wanna tick it, and it will normally automatically select the latest, and then click next, and it will just tell you, and then you're gonna click install. Once you install, it will normally ask you to run it, which you just run it. I've already installed it, so once you installed it, launch it by normally searching for it. Alright, that's not running there. Once you click, not this one, but this one, then it should start. The way you can see is show hidden icons down here. You should have something like this, green W. If it's red, that normally means you're maybe missing some files. If it is green, the next thing you want to do is right click it. The first thing you want to go into is tools. Now normally MariaDB, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, this one will not be, you may have different ports. If it shows something like 800 for this one, for the Marriott, I highly recommend you click this one, use the other port than that. I have selected, you just click it and then it'll take some time, but this will show up, and then select what you want. I've selected 301, which I recommend. MySQL, wouldn't it normally show something else, but you need to put it to 3306, mainly because most plugins are set to this default. You can choose another one, but I highly recommend this. You will as well, as far as I know, need to port forward this port as well. You can even click test port and it will come something up. Once that is done, you are basically done. If this is running green, then you're gonna do this. Local host. You're gonna be presented with this, your projects. To create a project, go to create directly in www. Now you're gonna go to PHP myadmin. Now next you're gonna need to log in. By default, unless you somehow changed it, the username is gonna be root and the password is gonna be nothing, and you click go. Now I cannot log in because I actually created a password, which is just password, which I don't mind telling you, because most will ask you for a password. Most the plugins will say like, okay, give us a password. Click go, and now you're going to be presented with this page. First thing you want to do is find the config file, the veconomy config. I'm first going to close down the server. In here, as you can see, db host, db user, db pw, which is meant to be password. Most people just put pass, database, and port. Host, if you're running off some site, you will need to change this to the IP. If you're running off your computer, just localhost. Now let's just say this one is okay. This one we're gonna create a new one, databases. For you to actually, if you want to change your password, if for some reason you want to have a password, then you just go into settings. No, it's actually, sorry, user accounts, root, localhost. It will normally say password, will say no, all privileges, grant, yes. Just click edit privileges, and then up here, change password. Simple as that. Once you're done, go back to databases, create a new database now. Sorry about that. Now call this whatever you want, just remember the name. Okay, for this one, I'm gonna call it eco, because economic. Eco1. I'm gonna delete this later, but here, this I'm not too experienced with, so just leave it by whatever it is, and click create. Okay, this one's been created. Now normally say no tables found in database. Okay, this is fine. This is nothing to worry about. Don't do anything. Next, you want to go back to the config file. Mine is in Visual Studio Code, which is free. This one is just server priorities. Then you want to find, okay, it is localhost, yes. The root is the username is root, yes, and the password is password. And the database is called eco1. The port, yes, that's the port. The currency type, I think this is just going to be euro. Start many. It doesn't matter. Like, this is not going to be anything, but alright, do Controls S or save. Close it down. And next, we want to restart our server, because sometimes it will come with an error, and that isn't because, like as you saw, that plugin I tried to use, whenever I did a command from that plugin, it only gave us an error in the console. This is not because the game is broken. This is known because it cannot connect to the database. There's multiple reasons. It is not always, even if it says disabled, this does not mean your plugin is disabled. Normally I would recommend first check, do you have a typo? Next, do you have something errors like for example, you entered the wrong name, cap sensitive, all this. I'm gonna log in. Okay. Eco. Wow. I'm gonna go into creative just so I don't die. You can see currently own. Okay, it goes into minus, but okay. Eco give. Oh wait, if I just do eco LonlyGamerX to this much. Was set to some plugins will require you to be admin, but no opt to give yourself money. A plugin like Essentials, for any of you wondering, you cannot give yourself money, and you don't need to disable Essentials if you're gonna have a plugin like that, because it normally automatically overwrites it. Then if I do balance, oh, balance top. I'm the top person because no one's else been on here. Okay, this looks all handed in. As you can see now, it works. Now I'm gonna disconnect. Now I'm gonna go back over here and I'm gonna refresh this. As you can see, new things has happened. In the eco, we now have new, which will still be that, economic logs, which will tell you ID, sender, UID, receiver, sender name, received, and how much. In this plugin, you know how much your friend, you know who sent it, to whom, and how much. The low bit type, sometimes I don't know if you can make it bigger, and then you can go, oh, so this guy has 100. You can just do this. Let's say, okay, I want it to be 50. One row affected. Now, I do not know if you need to restart your server or if it will be automatic like that. I can go in and check. Bal. Nope, it automatically does it. I'm gonna put my server right there. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put this to 105. One row affected. Go back in here. Bal. Okay, what if I restart? Oops, no, I don't want to log into iPixel. Okay, and then I do bow. Okay, now, you basically, as far as I can see, you have to log in for it to take effect. But that's basically it. You both have these two plugins. The most problem most people have faced so far as I know, is port forwarding, which I will tell you guys, this is the hardest one. If you can log in, then I recommend saving up and buying the port forward network utilities. It's a lifesaver, personally, I would say. You just have to know what type of router you have. You can normally look on it, or even ask the internet providers, like the name and the model and all that, and just login details, which you should be able to know. For any of you wondering, I do not, but I will tell you this, I highly recommend asking your internet provider if you can do this. The main reason I'm saying this is, I have heard some people who's actually gone to jail, not for messing with port forward, but just for messing with their Wi-Fi router, because their internet providers did not like they messed with that. I do not precisely know exactly what they messed with, but that's why I recommend. If they cannot say, then look on their website, because normally what shows on their website are stuff you can do. Like, they will not show you how to hack into their Wi-Fi because they don't want you to. So if they show you how to, and if you want to be, if they don't, and you want to be 100%, either meet them in person and ask them. If they cannot, call some technical guy. If you can't, then email them. Just say like, I have a son, or I'd like to open these ports for a video game server. Can I do this? Will this? And this is, you can do it without this, that's up to you, but I recommend it to be on the safe side. That's basically it. If you do have any problems, please do not be afraid to ask them. Like, this PHP will stay up, same with the server, as long as your computer is running. Your computer dies. Now, you can, even if for some reason you are your friend somehow get access to this website, or let's just say instead of having a localhost actually open this to the public, what you can do is user accounts, add a new user. This one is gonna be friend or LonlyGamerX. Like this is gonna be that kind. Okay, host name is strength. This is gonna be his password. And you can always just give them permission to change the password. And down here, privileges, you can tell them what they could do. Setting it to 0 basically means it's, as you can see here, it removes the limit. Now most of the times you don't need any more accounts. You can just have root localhost. The root, this is as well, like this is why you might want to change it to the root to something else. Whatever your password is will be in here. I don't know if they'll work without a password. You can even find plugins here which you can download. If you have any problems or questions, don't be afraid to ask them in the comments. I will try and respond to everyone's. I'm sorry if I don't respond to yours. See, even here it says there's no new updates. This, for example, this line here this line in here, you will normally not see if you're just running a normal. Each plugin can add stuff in here. Normally it's just if there's an update or not. If there is, it'll normally say in chat something like plugin this needs updates, stuff like that. Sorry, I wrote that wrong, but that's basically it. There's not much else to it. And then you can go in and mess with the files. The only file on here that's not important, but there's if you delete, it'll just be recreated, is permission.yml. Normally many people believe this, you could set people's permissions and what they can do and not. No, you cannot. This does not work that well. I don't know what this is for, but as far as I've heard, it's not that useful, and most likely most people do not mess with it. The rest you might mess with depending on what you're running. And that's basically it. I do hope all of you have enjoyed, and if you have, thank you overall. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if this has been helpful, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.